Hi, it's Neil here from Wedding Help, and this is our first ever episode of Wee Bants. Eamonn's just come up with that name there now. Well done, Eamonn. You can get your money for that, so you can now. You can apply for it.
Must be sure on that.
So it is Wedding Bants. It's our first episode. I suppose you can all introduce yourselves, tell us who you are. So start by Eamonn. Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Eamonn. I'm the photographer for Treasure Box Photography.
I'm Chloe, and I am True North Socials wedding content creator.
I'm Jenna from Jenuine Moments Chloe, which is another content creator.
And I'm Michelle, and I'm Bella Torta, and I do wedding cakes.
So before we even started this, we were saying what's something that we should do away with at weddings, and Eamonn, you just really got rid of the two girls straight away. You just said get rid of content creation. Is that right?
There's three girls. Is it just content?
It's just content you're looking rid of. But
I never said it, but I think it's great what they do, but there's a lot of, there is a stigma.
I think.
But once you work with them, it's grand. Like, we've worked together, and I think we worked quite well together.
And I worked with him in 2 weeks ago too. And
So there we go.
grand, so
I think there's a market for it, and the reason being there's a market for it is, social media has become so popular, and like really, what you're doing in photography, it's personal. Whereas I think what you're offering is something that's more out there. It's something that you're going to share with everybody. It's something that whenever you get your reels and stuff, you're going to put them on social media. There's people that love that, and the turnaround all makes it a bit different.
Yeah, people, as you say, they do want to show it off, and even though you might have some shy people that be like, oh, I don't know if I'd want that, but realistically, when they're lying in bed and they go on their phone, they're going to go on some form of social media platform, and they go, "First, I must do that for my wedding," so the ideas will come across on social media.
It's all there,
So why not have a content creator that can do it for you?
I think the things as well that you hear, even from with no videographers here today, but the things that you're capturing is different from what. It's a different sort of aspect, I think, isn't it? Really,
style. Yeah, it's definitely more behind the scenes, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
too, more
100%.
Those wee moments and conversations that you might not hear when you get your video back.
For me,
Like
like,
creeping in the background,
Yeah.
stalking everybody.
that's actually terminology too.
I feel like a
that can
stalker.
be dangerous too. Have you seen anything that was a bit bizarre there? A bit like oh my goodness, right? Just delete that. Or
Quite
whatever,
recently, actually, and it was actually here in Clandy. One of the guests actually fell asleep, and he actually was lying with his arms like
I've
this.
seen that.
And they all said to me like, "Oh, take a photo or a video," but I literally went, "Should I check his pulse?" Because he was literally laying on the hands like that. And I did. I actually ended up checking his pulse, and he just looked at me, and I was like, "I just wanted to make sure everything was okay." And you were like, "Yeah." But they asked me to take that footage, and then I was like, "I don't know if I should put
If I
that
feel
up,"
comfortable
but
doing
they
that.
asked for it, so
Yeah.
I was doing a hypnotist show one night, and it was in the Ballyliffin Lodge. It's band Donegal, and you know what? You get them lined up. And I say anybody with alcohol don't take part in the show, and the reason I say that is because you're just going to feel like really groggy after. You'll feel awful. Because it's a bit like going to you had a pile of drink and you go to sleep. Your head starts to spin.
Aye.
That's the only thing hypnosis is going to do with you.
I think if you fall asleep at a wedding, it should be a rule that people just pile stuff on top of them.
Yeah.
chairs,
Turn them into like a
sit,
couple-
You know
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
The lady came up and she took part in the show, and I tried to get her down like I was alright, but nah, wasn't having it. Like, had I take part in the show, and the next thing, like, she fell into this deep sleep, and everybody's all, "You've hypnotized her, you kept bringing her awake now." I was all, "No, I really haven't," And I knew the band there that night. And about half an hour later, I'm driving home, and I get this message, and I sort of look, and I stopped, and the next thing, it's this message from this woman out on the floor giving it this. And I was all, everybody's blaming me at this point.
That's all you need sometimes. It's just say,
It'd be quite scary at a wedding. Like, what are you going to
know
make us
what?
do?
That's like, like, what do you do? Do you know what I mean? Like, so
nothing wrong with a wee disco nap. I have one of them many's a times.
no, exactly.
Love a disco nap.
So you think it's a perfect thing to do at a wedding then?
Do it whenever.
My
Yeah.
husband's desperate for it. We were at the awards night, and there he is, asleep with a glass of wine in his hand.
What colour? See if
White.
it was red,
No,
my
it was
heart would have
white.
went to finger.
No, white. I was like, I need to get this
Well,
man
that's
home
not too
before
bad.
anybody sees.
I don't play. See, at the awards night, I think I was in my bed for 11:30, so it was.
We were home
I was
before
just
12.
I was just that
Yeah.
stressed. I was that stressed just about the whole thing. So it
That
was.
constant talking would have angered you.
Well, it's not that like everything because everything the awards like literally we were just reading it off. I was like, it's stunned.
Your social battery dies, like.
Aye, I was
It
just
does,
stunned, like, you know what I
100%,
mean?
like,
Like,
yeah,
I
definitely.
haven't been to one of these yet.
No, nearby.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
my
yeah.
first.
Yours
Yours
will
will
be
be
my
my
first.
first.
I'm only doing this like a month.
Really?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Is that all your? Is that all?
Yeah,
your-
but I've been doing content for 5 years. So I started off as a motherhood influencer, believe it or not.
There you go.
I swear, I just my 5th baby in January there.
Aye.
So like,
It was January.
just in
Oh my
January, yeah.
goodness.
So I kind of started out as being an influencer first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started running businesses pages for them as a social media
Yeah.
manager, and then I was like, right, this might make sense for me to do this now.
I was gonna say, like, what was it got you into the wedding for it then?
Because I ended up getting like a pattern of clients coming in that were suppliers, wedding
Yeah.
suppliers. So then I was like, this is class, I actually love this, and then it just made sense to go into wedding content creation,
Yeah.
you know, because my
Yeah.
mum and sister owned a bridal boutique as well for a couple of years.
Oh, so
lovely.
I like,
So you do
I
your
just love
thing.
weddings, like,
Yeah.
just love it.
Yeah.
So it makes total sense. I don't know why I've not even done it sooner.
Aye. That's
But it
brilliant.
is only just up and coming, as we've said. Anyway,
Kind of
like,
last
so-
year, I would say. It's
Even
kind of
whenever I
been a
heard, I
thing,
was
and
like-
you probably know that yourself, like, because you've done photography for. I mean, photographers have been about for.
Yeah.
time.
Well, the first.
Like, you
it's a
notice
wee
it.
thing,
You notice it even in the group. Like it's one of them questions now. Can anybody recommend a wedding content creator? You know, can and whenever you see questions like that, I suppose you realise that's become really
It's a
popular.
big
like,
trend,
you know,
isn't
now
it?
it is,
Yeah.
you know.
Sometimes I'm like, is it just my algorithm? Is it just constantly showing me the people asking about content creators because that's who I am? But then I'm like, no, people genuinely are.
And I found
asking
that
all the time.
all the couples I have, they've all been so different. So some might be out there, some might be actually really quite quiet and shy and
Yes.
introverted, but
Aye.
they still want that social media base, as I've said.
Yeah.
You're lying in bed, you're on your phone, social media, you love it, but also you might just want to keep it to yourself. So
when
it
you're in the
can be
spotlight,
controversial.
don't you?
Yeah.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Even the Shire brides that I've had, see whenever I post their video on my page, they're flipping loving
I know,
it. They
I know,
absolutely love just seeing their day out there
Catching
for people
them,
to see.
They're not aware if you catch
Yeah,
them. If
so
you bring
it's
their face,
natural
they would
then.
probably be like, oh god, no.
Yeah, it's
I
very
suppose
natural.
it's something, but really as well with wedding content, you know, it doesn't need to be splashed over Instagram or something. It can be personal for you too.
100%.
Like,
I say even at my contract as well, I say, look, if it's something that you don't want on social media, tell me and it won't put it up. You know,
Yeah.
yes, of
Aye.
course, we have to promote ourselves
Yeah.
as content creators,
Yeah.
but there's many of other things that you can do. And if they don't want it, then I just say that's no problem. Send it off to them.
What's the worst thing that could happen to a content creator on the day?
Probably, I think
Batteries?
my biggest fear is like not having enough content
Yeah.
to
Right, okay.
capture.
aye.
That like I done a wedding the other day and there was 12 people, just 12, and I
My
was
goodness.
panicking when I got there and I seen 12 including the bride and groom. So I was
So I
like,
suppose for content, because
Yeah.
I don't mean in a bad way, it's different for a photographer. You know, if there's 12 people at the wedding, you've your set day and you know what you're gonna capture in a way. But for you, content on the day with 12 people
because
could
it's
be
all
Yeah.
video, you know,
Aye,
you're thinking,
you know,
what can I get?
aye.
You know?
But it's not even that. I suppose it's different from the content that you're getting. Is that a lot of it, you know, we see it's them sort of moments where it's like, you know, big flamboyant moments, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know,
like the
Photography's
confetti
more-
throws,
yeah.
Aye, do you know what I mean?
I
Aye.
kind of almost rely on the photographer and videographer because they are the directional ones. So
Yes,
whatever they're
aye,
going
we
to
take
do,
their lead.
I'll go by
Aye.
their lead kind of thing. If there's something, yes, I want to do, I'll ask. But again,
Yeah.
all depending on the couple. If they don't want to do TikToks, that's fine. I'll
Yeah.
get behind the scenes. If they do want to do it, just say, right, okay, we'll do this. I don't want to be directional. I want the real genuine moments. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So
Loved
we
it
had to
there,
get
loved
that
it.
wee name
Look
in
at
there.
you, man, look at you go.
like she's admin socials now.
My at is.
Or my second question, should mobile phones be banned at weddings?
Yes.
I'm sitting here looking at my
100%.
mobile phone to get these questions up, so but should they be banned at weddings?
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
thoughts?
During the
Yeah.
ceremony,
And even you
100%.
can answer that, yeah. Big time.
You do.
Yeah.
Because you're told, it's there in black and white, do not post anything until the bride. Not even the groom.
Aye.
It's the bride until she does her first post.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
but
you can
I
go
always
all
thought that
out.
was like
Always
a
go
But
But
I
like-
think as well it needs
but
to be
you
more
always say
specific
one or
of
two.
because people think, oh, I don't need to post, but I'll still take video or I'll still take
No,
pictures.
no media.
I think it's
Oh.
just
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
I think
agree.
I think especially with young people now, you know, with the likes of the apps and stuff where they just want to go along, get like 30 seconds. You know, and they're like, I remember me and the wife were at a wedding and she was singing at it, and like literally this week, just walked on and just went like with a mobile phone, walked out of the room, and I was like, what is this about? Like, you know,
Yeah.
what's going on with the world? Like, you know,
Yeah.
but I think, enjoy your day, enjoy the wedding day for all the guests,
Because you're glued
really,
to your phone.
really get involved in it,
You're
it's
missing out.
Enjoy it and look back on
You're
it the next
missing
day.
out
Or
on what's going on.
It might be, especially a family wedding,
Because you have your videographers, you have your content creators, they're getting all that for you, so you don't need to be like with your hand on.
As Eamonn was saying there, like, there's nothing worse even for him as a photographer, I'm sure, like trying to get the ceremony shots. And imagine
somebody's
a big
big
iPhone
head.
just sticking into the eye. Like,
Not even the iPhone, like the head. They're like
The whole
completely
body
like,
is
get
like
out of my
Yeah.
way. Sorry, I'm just
If you're invited to a wedding, be at the wedding.
Yeah.
Don't be someone behind a phone, like, because the couple want to see your face.
exactly.
I would say even for the likes of like confetti shots or them coming down the aisle, you're moving backwards, and then
you're
you just
bumping into
have the
them.
people that's in the phone, and they're almost like as if you're in my way when actually you're
They're the ones that
you're
have taken the
buyer.
family photos in the house, and they're like, I know what I'm doing. Get out of my way. Like the professionals don't know nothing.
No,
I was going to say something else there, but keep it PG.
But literally, that's why I got, this sounds so silly, that's why I got branded clothing, because whenever I was landing at weddings with an iPhone, I thought, these people is going to think I'm some gate crasher.
I never actually thought about that.
That's what I did
That's
too,
why I
yeah.
done this. I was like,
Aye.
I have to at least let people see.
Are they going to identify you?
Yeah.
That-
It
Get out of
actually
her
gives
way.
you a job.
That's very clever because like it's different, I suppose. Like even you've got your big cameras now, and it's very
Yeah,
elaborate.
mate.
that
You're wearing your
that-
crossover like
that-
straps or something.
Strap-ons.
that you really know, but I suppose
You're
you're
on summer's kit.
You're coming a long way. You're coming a long way. Mobile phones and stuff. And it
Exactly.
does, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that.
like we probably use the gimbal that much
Yeah,
too to
like-
make sure it looks, because the gimbal at least makes it look like more
Even
of a
though
kit
you're
that
still
using.
using those type of equipment, people still ask the question, who is that? What are they doing?
Aye.
Like, I can do what
Yeah.
she's doing because I have a phone.
Yeah.
Aye,
But
aye.
that's
more
exactly
skill to
it.
it.
I know I couldn't. I am useless. So I know I wouldn't be able to capture any of the footage like it would be shite. So it would be.
I think as well, because you have a background and he's just something said one day, right, on my wedding content,
I haven't just woke up and said, I'm just going to go to the wedding.
you know,
Yeah.
Take my
but
phone.
at the end of the day, you said about a social media is, I suppose you were savvy in social media like, before that, like
Yeah, we always had that interest for it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always did, but I always just had that wee bit of, I know I'm not shy, like, but I always had that wee bit of like, oh, I don't know, because what if people say this and what if people say that?
But you're
And
always
then
going to have that.
Over time, I just learned, you know what, it's my life, my page.
Yeah,
I'll
just
do whatever I
do
want.
it.
If you don't like it, just scroll
Jog
on.
on.
You know, you don't have to. Yeah.
But yeah,
100%.
definitely unplugged ceremony. I'm all for it.
Yeah,
any
me too.
wedding day X. I think we've set up our X, but
Wedding
any
day X.
wedding day X. What's your
Oh,
thoughts?
for me, I do not like balloons at a wedding.
Right.
you know
There you go.
Birthdays, holy communions.
You mean it's a big balloon arches
I
and
do
stuff?
not like balloons. I don't know what it is.
I think it is something that's more for like a birthday party or something.
Yeah, I agree.
Or an engagement party, but maybe not the
Yeah, they
wedding
have
itself.
their
sort of
place.
thing.
Me personally, no. Just no.
Mine's is quite niche, but it's in a speech specifically. You know when people say, for those of you who don't know me, I don't like that. Because the MC has
Is that not what you said at the
probably-
start there?
Chloe, no. But like I don't know what it is. I think it's because I know I'm just wild, like I don't know, like perfectionist or something. But the MC's probably already said, here is, I'm just going to use my sister's name, Sarah, the bridesmaid or maid of honour. She's going to speak, and then for those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah. Chloe's it's just like you've already been introduced.
It's
So
one of
like,
them things,
let's
but
skip that bit.
speeches is awful. Like you feel sorry. There is
I
people
know.
that's doing speeches and they're just that it's
Yeah, they
so.
probably
I
haven't even
know.
registered.
Speeches
They've been
during
introduced, like, they
speeches
wrote their
during
speech
courses
out.
drive me.
I've never
insane.
seen that before. Is that a thing?
What is
it? Speeches during courses, like one speech after starters, after mains, after.
Oh, that's just a bit through other, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
it just means that, and you know the
Just drags.
yeah, the photographer, videographer, content creators can't get a decent break because we're jumping up. Like
You're
you know,
constantly up and down
yeah,
waiting for the
yeah.
next one.
I
Yeah.
actually think even speeches after dinner can be awful. Like because
Well, I think I done a wedding at the weekend, and I'm near positive they said that their speeches and that were straight after the ceremony. At the drinks reception.
I think that's quite a good
That's
idea,
quite a
though. I've
good
seen
idea,
that.
yeah.
I could have picked the venue up wrong, but that's what I interpreted was happening.
My egg would be open to invite to speeches.
that can
Because you
go
don't know how
really
many
bad.
people.
Oh, the drunk auntie at the back of the
It
room.
would feel
will be
like, you know, when you were in high school and your teacher would have been like, right, you know, you read that line there. It's like, no.
No,
Someone just
have them
won't be
set in
wants to
stone.
speak.
How many
Yeah.
people's there?
I think just after dinner part, and the worst thing as well, if there is somebody with nerves, they're sitting there eating their dinner and they're not enjoying
They're
it.
probably
but
been sick like
they're
one
just-
day.
they're just thinking
Get it
of
over and done with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just
And then you
thinking
can
about it,
enjoy
you
the
know.
rest of it.
Do you know what trend I would love to see happen here is people cutting the cake as soon as they walk down the aisle. The first thing they do.
Me and Em want to do that.
Yeah.
We do.
It just means that
I'm getting married
guests
next
can
June, you see, so
enjoy the cake during the reception part, like, you know.
That's what we want to
Last
do.
week they done that straight after the ceremony.
Yeah.
The cake was cut.
Yeah.
I
Brilliant,
think
that's
that's
just
so
really nice.
clever because I've heard from I've got a friend that she does the cakes. She says there's so much cake wastage, and that would
You'll
break
have to
my
watch. You'll
heart.
have to watch my.
Oh, there we go.
I've given you tips.
Yeah, couples can show off their cake before the wedding. People can take pictures of it before they go into the ceremony, and then everybody's gathered there as soon as the couple walk down the aisle, and then
I think that's so clever.
Yeah.
let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
a 2025, 2026
gonna
couples.
do
Shaking things up a wee bit.
And you know the way people do a receiving line.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was going to not do that, but what I would like to do with them is we cut our cake, right? And then it's not a receiving line, but it's like a cake line. So like they come up and we serve them their slices
Yeah,
of cake,
yeah.
and then that's when we get a wee chat.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I think that would be such a funky idea.
Yeah.
Me and the wife, you know the way they normally do that just after the service, you know, it's so like that takes up so much time, and like that's one bit of advice that I would give to any couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know, honestly, greet everybody, you know, that greeting part of the day, greet them at the venue because
I know it's
I only had 25
it's,
at
it's,
mine, but
it's traditional, you know, like traditional at the end
I'm
of
walking out, you're
Aye,
like hugs and all.
that you're greeting everybody, but honestly, it can take up about 45
Oh
minutes.
yeah, and
and
it eats big time
ages.
into your.
No, I just walked
into
down
your-
into
the
your
aisle
photo
and
section.
I
Aye,
Like,
it
Wait,
eats
the
in
bar,
there,
you're
like, you know, and that's like I remember even chatting to the photographer on our wedding day, and we said, "No, do you know what? That's if you don't do that, you'll save so much time." And it really did. Like
That's so
it
true,
got
yeah.
Why
everything
would you do
going.
that? You know everybody there.
And you're going to be there all
It's
day.
just it's one
You've
of the
invited them,
traditions.
you
It's
know
just
them.
It just
you know,
is an old
aye.
tradition, isn't it?
Every single groom that is part of the receiving time line always ends up with makeup on their shoulder as well.
What a nightmare. That's just more editing for
Do a
you.
version of that as they're going into the ceremony at the start. So why do it again?
Aye, I know.
on,
It's,
I
No,
it's
it doesn't
mad.
make sense, really.
Oh, aye, true. Yeah.
Because another thing
And I
I'm
would
doing.
want everybody all up
Aye.
on my lap. Yeah.
Well, the way we worked, we had this. It was a singing waiter. It was
Yeah.
Sweet Connor. That
Yes.
was done like our sort of thing.
He's
And,
fantastic.
aye.
He's brilliant.
And do you know what? He had a train going anyway, so everybody's coming up.
Class. That worked well.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh, can you see? Just sort of thing with them on, you know. So it
Yeah.
worked well, like, you know.
I'm glad they don't do the smashing the cake in the face anymore.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think-
You're
For
spending
photos, that'd be brilliant though.
money.
I know.
Yeah, would.
Yeah, but
It's
if
been
it's
replaced
right,
with Prosecco towers now, champagne towers.
Yes.
Hasn't it really?
The cake
Or
smash
icing
seems
them.
up your street. That's
Icing
something
them.
What is?
that seems up your street. The cake smash.
I always, whenever the couple are cutting the cake, there's always me going, a food fight, and then it's usually, it hasn't happened yet,
you
but
spend
someday,
hours
someday.
decorating, getting your makeup to perfection so it's not
imagine.
dripping off your face.
Oh, I'd be
to have
livid.
somebody smush you.
I know.
And not even, like maybe if it was the end of the night and you know you're all sweaty mess.
Anyway.
But when you're just like you
I don't know, I
all
think I
glammed
still do
up
it.
and
Yeah.
Do you know what's disappeared since I started is bouquet throwing?
Yeah.
Disappeared. But I think that's probably because the brides want to keep their flowers, you know.
Yeah,
so-
they do.
They've paid a lot of money for it,
So,
and yeah,
yeah.
fair enough.
It's fun. I went a couple of weeks ago. It was actually two guys, but they had bridesmaids who had flowers, so it was a double bouquet throw-in, which is
Oh,
I
God.
threw my flowers, but I took them back.
Did you?
well. At our wedding,
No, it
our,
was my
our
sister-in-law
flowers
gave me them
was
back.
pretty much,
Yeah, aye,
pretty much
fair.
destroyed. So,
Yeah.
but no, I can see why it has died out because couples want to hold on to the flowers because they paid a lot of money for them, you know. So
Fair enough.
yeah,
I see the icing the grooms is a
I seen the
trend
grooms.
thing now.
What is
Yeah,
that?
so like maybe the bride standing there and she pulls up her dress and there's Smirnoff Ice sitting, and all the groomsmen have to neck it.
Right.
That
Okay.
seems to be.
What do you mean?
Sing that.
What do you mean? Like,
So she's maybe it's a first look, and it's obviously maybe not the groom, but the groomsman. And she's maybe just standing, and then she'll pull her dress up, and there's bottles of Smirnoff Ice sitting, so they have to down it. and whoever downs it is the quickest or the winner or whatever. I don't actually know what.
Groomsmen are like up a bride's dress.
No, she pulls the dress up and they're just.
I was like,
It's not like the big garter
Keep us
reveal.
clean, girls. Keep it clean. Come on.
She's just standing there, like that, and then pulls it up, and there's, you know, it's almost like she's hiding it, you know, and then steps back.
I've never seen that one.
And then they have to down it. Now I don't know what they get at the end of it. Like, do they get drinks on the house the rest of the day or what? But it's, you know,
I
they're.
thought that was some
But
like
it's
Sticky
it's
Vicky
called
stuff
getting
or
ice.
something.
So it is getting ice.
Heading up to Benidorm to do it, Sticky Vicky, and the next thing is ice comes out. Like, what?
Right, Jenna.
So have you witnessed any wedding day disasters that have turned out really good then? So like a wedding day disaster that's ended up good?
I haven't as of yet.
Bridesmaids' dresses. The steamer was too close, and the water, and it was like satiny kind of material. And you know, when you get water in that, it's hard to get it out.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then she was standing talking to me, and she had the cake topper in her hand as she was talking to me. And next
Same
thing it
bride?
just went, same bride. It just went, and I was like, did that just break in your hand? And she was like, what? No. And I was like, that is just, and she was like, my friend made me this, isn't it beautiful? And I was like, I am so glad that broke in your hand and not mine. But
How
yeah,
you didn't
same
have to
bride,
have
I was like, take her away and get her a bottle of Prosecco or something to calm her nerves and that. But yeah,
Your thing is so much stress, like bringing cakes and stuff. And
nerves.
you know,
I
that.
never travel with a stacked cake, and it baffles me, the ones that do, because you don't know how many emergency stops you're doing. You have bell ends going around the roundabout, and you're taking the backy, and you're just like,
I would assume weather's a big thing too. Like some nice day and
We were
stuff.
talking about that. We were talking
yes,
about
it might
that,
take me an hour when I'm there doing it, but I'd rather stack it at the venue than no way.
Nightmare.
Any other disasters that turned out well?
I once fell into a pond. I was completely submerged in water.
You did?
No
Yes,
way.
and my cameras, yeah.
Were you still clicking away though?
Yeah, on the way down, feet in there.
They would have been good photos.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was completely submerged head to toe in water, like, and I lost the camera out of it, you know. But none of the photos were ruined. Like, obviously, the photos were kept on their dual memory cards in camera, you know. But I was in front of the whole bridal party because they were doing the arms interlocked and they're walking towards me, and I was walking backwards, and I just flipped over.
You were like extra entertainment the day.
Yeah. Well, I was completely drenched, like, you know. So whenever I got out, I just checked equipment. I knew one of the cameras was gone, you know, but I knew the photos were going to be safe. And I had two options: either to go dry myself off and do it again, but I just decided to carry on completely. So I took off my shirt. So I did the actual photo shoot, the rest of the photo shoot, topless, you know.
So you had the abs and all that.
I wouldn't say abs, but one ab.
You missed an opportunity. You should have stood up, you know. I went, and I did it my way. You know, I just came on this song, and then you could have been all right. I'm actually charging you for me singing this. Is actually part of me. This is part of the package.
You've heard of stripogram and kissogram.
Here's it. I walked in
missed
on a
out.
bride's father when he was getting dressed. So he was just in his trunks.
Right, okay.
Well, at least he was
And
in his trunks.
I know, but it was
Yeah,
still traumatizing. And I was just like, oh, I'm sorry. And I was like, just looking up this, I just didn't know what to do. I was like, oh.
Leave the room.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'm away. So I suppose that's probably one of my things that's happened to me. Like,
I haven't had any disasters. The only one would have been the bride couldn't get her dress on, and then the maid of honour couldn't do it either, and that was meant to be her job, and then the mum wasn't doing it, so then they were like, Chloe, like, can you help me get into my dress? And then I was like, well, yeah, I can. And thankfully I had worked in the boutique with mum, because them dresses are huge. Like, it's actually really hard. That's why there's dressing services and
Do
stuff.
you know
because
what?
it's
And
really
I
difficult.
honestly think, you know, that's something as well that, you know, especially like, you know, bridal parties. Oh, we've got a bridal party. No, you don't. Like, you really, you know,
You don't.
It's, you know, because they have their own stuff going on.
Yes.
I think the bridal dressing service and stuff like that, you know, anybody that's offering that.
I could see why people would do
Aye.
it, you know. 'cause
Yeah,
No,
I wish
it's-
I had known that was a thing when I was getting married, because I was
Aye.
sitting pulling it up,
I think
into
even
it,
for the
and-
men as well, like, you know, it's important, you know,
Oh, we
there's-
always forget about the men.
Do you know what? Because I've seen that on Wedding Help. Is it Groom
the
Groom
Groom.
the Groom? And I was
Claire's
like,
fantastic.
I didn't know that was a thing. But I
She's
thought,
so
how
good.
nice that a man can have they're sure all steamed and they're tired, dicky whatever fixed
Because they
up
are
and
forgotten
all.
about, so
Of
it's
course
so
they
nice
forgot
that it's a
about it.
service for them.
Rightly so. No, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it's
like-
your wedding featuring.
Yeah,
Featuring him.
That's a big thing that I like, isn't
Yeah.
it? On the boards,
Yeah.
it's
But I
always
think even
featured.
I was chatting to Claire doing one of the podcasts, and she said, sometimes like men and are a bit, that'll do the job, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
and something you have to remember, like
Men can't dress themselves.
I was going to say, I'll end up walking up the island
Some
on a
men
big
get
thick
naked.
high school tie and I'll be
it's
raging.
not
I'll be
that
like,
there's a photographer there doing pictures all day.
Yeah.
Naked
And
as well,
do
sure.
you know an old But no, I think it's great, and she'd even said stuff about like nails and stuff. And I suppose if it's a mechanic or something, or somebody that's working and
Making sure there's no oil on it.
do you know, 'cause
Yeah.
you really,
Clean
like,
kegels
you're
and-
doing all these, doing all these sort of poses with your wedding rings and stuff, and
Aye.
also like I never thought about doing that. Like I thought
It is the wee
brilliant,
small things that
Ah,
matter,
But
isn't
you
it?
deserve
Yeah.
the pampering too.
Well,
of course.
Well,
You say, I don't like all that crap, but you truly do.
love that.
You
where is
do.
my dresser?
Where's your stylist today?
Where's my stylist?
Touch up on me.
Can't see him, but he's got a big rack of clothes in behind there. I got style today.
What's the weirdest or funniest song request you've seen at a wedding? Any mad ones?
I had Never Ending Story, but Stranger Things version when I was walking back up the aisle.
Ooh.
That was
Oh.
our like leaving, we're out of here.
Aye.
So yeah, we had that, and all the guests were like, I know that song, what is it? And there was me and Rand just singing it going down the aisle,
okay.
like, yeah. And then they clicked, because we love Stranger Things, and then they
Aye.
clicked that it was Never Ending Story. I don't know if
Very
you've seen
good.
it.
I haven't, no. I
Haven't you? The
You have to sing
the
it.
two-
now.
oh God,
Go
no.
ahead,
No,
go ahead.
no, that's
Give us
nails
a
on a
verse there
chalkboard,
now if
that.
you're ready.
No. I'll save you from that. But yeah, we had that as our.
That's nice, but because you do see, I don't know if it's just because I'm like absolutely consuming social media the whole time, like my brain is Instagram, but you see the same songs all the time, don't you? Like
Yeah.
everyone kind of chooses the same.
Like I had the
exit
typical
songs
Riel,
and-
I Get to Love You walking
Yeah.
up, and then we had that as we were leaving, and then it was Take That's Rule the World as our first dance song.
Oh, that's nice.
We
yes.
love the Stardust movie,
Yeah.
so that's why we had picked those songs. But it is repetitive.
But at
It's all
least
the
you did
same,
pick it that was
what's that
to do
one
with
from
you.
Twilight?
1,000 Years. Yeah, that's a
that
big one.
was-
Yeah,
Love that song.
I know because that was one of my brides wanted that. As,
And then my
as their highlight
sister-in-law
video, so
had
I
it
was
as
like,
hers, and I was like, God damn it, I can't have that now.
Yeah, I know it's really hard to pick songs
Yeah.
though. Like
Sure it
even
is.
now, a year out, I'm sitting there thinking, right, I need like, is it like 12 songs you need to make sure you have or something?
Oh, we
There's
just
like a
had
walking down
3.
the aisle and exit one. You need like 2 for signing the register. You need your sort of bridal party coming in. Then you need the bride and groom coming in. You need your first dance, and then you kind of need to think about the one straight
Oh,
after
we
the
didn't
first
do
dance.
all that.
But like,
no.
I'm
We
my
did-
head's
so
away.
that's a lot.
But,
That's a
but
lot.
that is true.
But it's true.
Yeah,
But or maybe I'm just too type A. I'm just like sitting thinking over things.
Oh,
We
you're
did
sort of
have
right.
that.
But I'm kind of like, I need to have an idea of what like to tell.
But if
this.
it's what you want, as you
Yeah.
you made that was capable for you. You know,
Yeah,
you love
yeah.
that type of thing, so that's why he's added
Yeah.
in. So yeah, I like
But I
that.
never even thought of, the bridal. That was all about me.
Yeah,
So the
just
bridal,
right.
they got nothing.
But I think as well now, like the walk-ins, because like I know a lot of people now, like I'm getting a lot of bookings where I'm doing, so they've me booked to do the hypnotist show, but then they'll book me and say, go and do them, so just,
The MC bit beforehand.
Aye, so just to give us a bit of hype coming into the room or something. And you're getting the songs and stuff, and they're going, what are you thinking? Oh, I don't know what they go away like, and I
Yeah.
suppose it's, you want something that's lively and something to get everybody going, but you don't want something that everybody else had too.
Yeah.
But then you still want something everybody knows.
Aye,
Because then they'll all be sitting singing it like while you're coming in. So it's
Aye.
really hard to find the
Like,
balance.
We had
of
our
songs.
DJ, my husband had to have Divine Comedy played.
Not your type.
What?
No,
Singing
he
My Lovely
loves
Horse.
Divine Comedy. Our bar, we have a bar in the garden, and it's called the Gin Soaked Boy. And I was like, why is it called that? And I was like, you don't want to know. And then it's one of their songs.
Right.
And my 13-year-old loves them too. And I'm like, get out of here. No. So that was the only input he had. But him and my sister-in-law, and they're all doing the wee strange dance moves and that. And I'm
That's
like, are you
so
having a fit? Like, what's going on here?
Music's such a controversial topic, though. Do you not think? Like,
He's
not
just
every
old. I
one
just say,
person
you're just
will have
old.
the same style of music.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's awful to say. Like, and even if I get booked, say I'm booked to do the hypnotist show, and it's a pity we don't have a DJ here today. But if you're booked to do the DJ as well, and people's all, dance. We just want dance music. Well, that's good. Dance music. And you're like that's not going to work, you know.
Yeah.
Because,
No,
Yeah.
you need a good mix.
Read the room.
What you
Kind of
think
thing.
they want
Yeah.
like full rave the whole time?
you know why? They're just
it's too much,
No,
innit?
just clubland classics, you know. You know what is that? You're like, no, you can't just do that all night. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
I think
Yeah.
there needs to be like a peak. Slowly move up to that.
I suppose you see it as well. Like you'll see it on the likes of the forum and stuff. You know, like we're we're looking for an alternative. Sometimes that can be good. And I don't know, this might sound controversial because it's your wedding and
Yeah.
you want it your way, but sometimes you've got to get the classics in there.
Yeah.
You've
You
got,
need the cheesy
can't
wedding
have
songs
it
in
without
there.
you
Like
can't just go.
Footloose, ABBA.
Footloose,
Oh, love
yeah,
Footloose.
ABBA, like come
Yeah.
on, should be Shania Twain, like jive and stuff. Like my family, there's a lot of us jive. I need to get jive lessons.
I've done a
I don't
jive
know how to
before.
jive.
and
You're
I
flipping
won.
joking, no way.
I done like a Strictly Come Dancing for a charity.
Go ahead,
and I
here,
done
we're
a
ready.
jive. Don't get me started. Honestly, the equipment be getting knocked off with the kicks and all.
But no, that's one of them things.
you need a
because
mixture, I think.
You can just
Just not Divine Comedy.
Just not.
but you will see couples on the bill where we're on the alternative music, you know, we just want from this to that, you know, and it's such like a small sort of thing, a range of music, and your guests are going to be so bored because
Yeah.
you can't just do that all night.
Like the
you know.
older crowd is going to hate that doof in their
Yeah.
ear all
yeah,
night,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and then
So
the
you
younger
have
ones
your
aren't going to want
Roland,
more.
then you have your Moana, and you have then your normal music. So you're keeping all the
Yeah.
oldies and the young ones. And
Aye.
just have
Yeah.
the-
I've got 5 kids myself, but I've got I think 12 or 13 kids going to my wedding, and like our plan is to do like a wee 15-minute kids disco at the start of our night.
That's nice.
I thought that was really cute because I was
I'd be
like,
joining in if it was me.
my kids would just love that, you know, like I'm Blue Davide, like all that kind of stuff.
That'd
I
be
just
class,
feel like it'd
you
be
know,
so good.
You that'd be class even for photos, you know, like the
Yeah,
kids'
all the
disco
kids
and
having a wee
stuff, you know.
disco, and I just think
Can
it
you
gets
imagine them doing the Macarena?
I know, or cha-cha slide and all that, you know. But then adults love that crack too.
Yeah,
It's
that's
really
neat.
up,
Because I had a
but-
bride and had done, you know, when Baby Shark was just everywhere.
and there's a remix version.
Yeah, well, I didn't know there was more to that song than there actually is, and it was the whole song played, and all the adults were in, and they were doing all the movements, and
But I think kids can bring it out of adults too. So
Yeah,
for me, I'm
it
like,
can be
if I get
fun.
the kids disco up and going at the beginning, like they'll guilt trip loads of adults to come
Yeah.
up and dance with.
You're
them.
just looking excuse to
I'm
get
just like,
in.
oh, wow, that's more. Come on.
Love it.
But no, I think it'll just get their energy burnt out too. So then it kind of chills them out a bit afterwards.
Fair.
So, what's your thoughts on the first dance? Is it romantic, a must do, or is it cringe? What do you think?
No,
I think you have to do it, don't you?
Eamon is the photographer. What do you like?
I think
when
it's
you're taking
a
pictures.
nice. It's a nice way to end your because for a lot of photographers, it's near the end of their day, and it's probably the last wee romantic moment before the dance floor opens up to everybody. So if you are inclined, I would just say go for it. Like
I'd
you
say
know,
50-50.
It is such a hectic day that, yes, you're up, you're getting married, then it's your photographs, your dinner, you're talking to people and that. You just don't actually have that time together unless you plan that in advance to go off somewhere. No, not that.
Not that kind of go off.
No one was thinking that now.
But just not that kind of go off. You know, just to have that time to
Elaborate.
get something to eat quickly and decompress. A lot of couples don't do that. So
Yeah.
for a lot of couples, getting that first dance, that's the first time where they've actually come together the whole day. So they can sit and have a chat. Like her over there's doing my head in, like, you know, save me from her later
there's the
on.
daddy-daughters thing as well that sometimes happens after the first dance, and sometimes there's other dances after that. I would, if couples are thinking about doing a daddy-daughter dance, I would say try and for the second dance, try and get a few more people involved in that second dance, or
Yeah.
at least from the chorus.
So you have you know your first dance, and then have people start coming up, and they're having their, you know, you switch out. So like if the bride has her dad there and the groom has his mum, then they switch. So it's all
Aye.
from one. It's not that
Yeah.
stop starting.
I
And
actually
then
think-
everybody up, and that's it done.
I actually think the daddy-daughter dance is more emotional than the bride and groom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it
big
definitely
time.
is.
Isn't
Definitely
it?
is.
'Cause
aye.
it just, you feel more with it. Like when you're sitting watching, like the bride and groom dancing, it's like, oh, you know,
Tripping over
like,
each other.
Like when the dad comes up, it's like, oh, you know, his wee girl's grown up and
yeah,
that
that
type of
definitely is,
feeling. So
definitely
I
is,
think
aye.
there's more feelings in the daddy-daughter dance than what there is in the bride and groom.
Definitely.
I think it's very couple dependent too, because
Yeah.
you're going to get couples that aren't going to want to.
They might not
do
have
in
that
front
slow
of people.
romantic one.
Yeah.
Like, they might
Like, I
have the
can't even
rave
imagine.
session,
Aye.
you know,
Aye.
whatever they want. But I still think they should do something.
Aye.
Yeah,
You
see,
know.
like Emmett loves all that like rave remixy stuff. Like he loves all that.
Yeah.
And
So
we're
you
not
should be up
slow
there with
dancing
the
people. So
CO2
like,
dance.
These are looking the 3 hour. These are looking the 3.
No, because I love all the pop cheesy stuff. I love all that. So there's going to have to be a mixture balance. But I can't even imagine myself like.
You should
doing
do
this
the
big
dance
long
then.
slow dance. Like I
You
just
should
can't.
start off doing a slow dance and then break out into...
I was going to, and then have the break like literally half of the song length or something.
Yeah.
A lot of them will do now as well. Like, they'll say, I'll make sure and invite everybody on then halfway through our song too.
Yeah.
I suppose it takes the nerves away, because if you're on a floor on your own and
I know.
like a part
feel like
of
a
the
fish.
job of the DJ is to get everybody gathered up and get everybody
I
around
get
that.
them all hyped up.
And
I actually seen online that there was a good idea that someone told their DJ they had like a secret gesture. So the DJ knew that was when they were fed up dancing and wanted it changed.
Aye.
So it was like when we hug, that's the DJ's sign to know, right, okay, let's turn this down and get the other one going.
Something
So
going.
like
We had
after a minute of
ours.
dancing and they were scunnered. or
Yeah,
whatever,
I
they were
would,
just
I would
like-
say any couples listening here, whenever you're picking your first dance song, make it short and sweet, because the last thing you want to be is on the middle of the dance floor and there's a
know.
6 minute
3.5, 4 minute
meatloaf
Yeah.
love song.
know.
Some of my best friends, they went out to Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. It was just one of the songs that they enjoyed, but they
a
were
long
out there
one.
for it's a 6 minute song, and to this day, it's probably the worst, most cringeworthy moment that they just were dying inside.
Yes,
like, so a 2.5 minute, 3 minute song is all you need. Like, so.
When we had ours, we take that one, which is quite long as well, but then we brought our kids in. So then they
I'm
were
more into it.
dancing with us, and then that finished the song off. And then we didn't have the father, son, mother, daughter,
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
whatever it is, kind of tongue
I've seen
we
the,
didn't have
the
that
long
bit.
songs, and especially if it's like just a song with like a long intro, and they're getting the intro and they're looking up at you going, you're like, well, there hasn't been a word said. Like, we're going to have to let some of the songs play on to get a word. Like,
I seen a really good one on social media, and it was like obviously the bride and groom went to get up to dance, and they went to do the lift from Dirty Dancing.
Dancing.
But instead of her actually getting lifted, she like lifted him and just like spun him round.
I've seen that. That's
And I was like, that's brilliant, because that's something new and
Something
different.
She must have a reinforced back, because not she'll be able to do that.
But she still ran towards him, so he didn't run to her. She still ran as if she was going to get lifted.
She would
and
need to
then
run
to
she
gear
just
up.
stopped
It was like
to,
a rugby
fling him round. It was brilliant. Loved
That's
it.
hilarious.
I'm hoping to get that. That would be good.
Good one for you for
Wouldn't
your
it
content.
be
I know,
captured,
we're always
yeah.
thinking of content. We're like,
Yeah.
what's the next different cool
Just
thing?
put it out there
I
to your
suppose
next
you
couple.
are always thinking about stuff as well. But again, I suppose you're advising, couples on that as well. They try and
Aye.
get that different thing.
Well, there's nothing more exciting for us than a bride telling you, oh, we're going to do this, and we're thinking, yes.
Aye,
like,
aye,
Can we do transition ones? Yeah, lift
yeah,
the leg.
let's go.
Woohoo, yeah.
Or someone saying like, oh, the groom's coming in a helicopter. Yes, bagged a great one. You just kind of think, oh, what could that
She's
be?
having like a
last
tick
one?
list going, right, yeah, we're going to do that,
Yeah.
we're going to do that.
You do in your
And
head,
then
like you
say to
have
your couples,
weddings.
I want to do this. I
Aye.
look for it.
Like you have weddings in your head, like I'd love to get something like that, and I'd love to get something like that. And,
Yeah.
I'll
but you
always
will
put it
eventually,
forward
but-
to them, because
Yeah.
like, as you say, it all depends on your couple. Like my previous one I did, they were quite shy, so I knew not to ask them, do you want to do this TikTok trend?
It might surprise you.
Because
Because be like, well,
I know
might.
what's to it. I think it's
Yeah.
read the room with
If you
like
don't
with a
ask, you
DJ
don't
and all.
get. If you say no, fair enough.
We normally have that chat before
But you normally,
even have the
yeah.
wedding
Do you know
anyway,
what?
like,
That's
but-
an important thing too, I suppose, reading your couple as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know,
Yeah.
because there's certain stuff that's suited and there's certain stuff that isn't,
correct.
I think every fender, like there's certain fenders isn't going to be your, if you're getting
Oh, you
married,
have to be
there's-
aligned with your media team,
You've-
especially your
you know.
media team, because they're around you
But
all
I
day.
think
Like,
every fender, like I'm not being funny, like a hypnotist show isn't going to be for
No.
every
Yeah.
wedding. Do you know what I mean? It's just not like like a certain maybe type of DJ isn't going to be for your wedding. I think there's different things. Like even we were chatting to Jamie Skelton, the magician.
Yeah.
There, I was chatting to him a few weeks ago. Like, and as we were saying, probably what we offer, like an MC, like so if I'm doing MC or he's doing MC, it's a bit more sort of different from what somebody like McGiggs is offering.
Yeah.
McGiggs is really going, it's 110 sort of thing.
Yeah.
Aye, the
Whereas
whole
ours
time.
is a bit more sort of not laid back, but just a bit. It's a different style.
Tamed version of it.
It's like a tame version, and I think that's as well, and that's not a bad thing because there's couples that. There's country weddings.
Yeah.
Like I would use
Down my way.
down to the country
my
down
way.
weddings,
Country
sorry,
down
country down weddings. But no, there's couples and the weddings are just going to be like, hey,
Yeah.
and there's weddings that is, that you maybe don't want that vibe. Like, so
Yeah.
I think it's finding the thing that's suited to your day too, and finding the fenders that suited and the wee parts of the day where you want these.
Well, not
these
everybody's
bits,
going to
like,
be
you know.
everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And that's
Aye,
okay.
aye.
It's
And everybody's
okay.
different, and
Yeah.
again, that's all right. Like as you say, like about my gigs, I would love my gigs.
Exactly,
because
yeah.
that's my
Aye,
type.
aye,
What
aye.
he does.
Yeah.
Aye.
While like whenever it was my birthday, I wanted a DJ that would MC.
Aye.
But some people just play the music and just enjoy a
that's
night.
it.
While I'm like, no,
Aye.
something like
See,
my
I'm a
gigs
bit,
get you
I'm a
up
bit like
and
you. I'm
love
like,
it. Yeah.
I booked you for my wedding.
Aye,
Like,
no,
so,
aye,
like
aye,
Dale's
aye.
coming to my wedding. Like,
That's a great advertisement there. Peter,
Friday night, she was Dale.
can you get that in the wee reel there? Can you?
But I know what you mean. Like me and it's very like outgoing. We're banter. Like all our mates, like we're just very
Aye,
fun.
aye.
So it makes sense to have something like a comedy hypnotist at ours, like because we know
Aye.
we'll all take it really well and
Aye.
take it
Oh,
as a bit of crack and
I
stuff.
always
You
think
know.
it's funny with my show because I think it's one of them things. Unless you see it, do you know?
Yeah.
You can't explain
and
it,
You
nearly.
you did see it. That wasn't it. That was how you.
I think I did see you somewhere.
You know, and that was
And I
the
knew
thing.
of you for years or
Aye,
whatever
do
as
you know,
well. And
you've
then,
got to see the videos because I think, you know, like
I do. I see your videos and you petrify me.
but no, like see wedding fairs. I don't. I really don't.
You should do
No,
one at a
I
wedding
don't.
fair.
No,
Why?
because do you know what? See, at a wedding fair, normally the bride will have her muller with her.
No, but even do it with
walking
another
around.
vendor
Right.
or something. Get a group of vendors up.
But then that looks like as if it's been set up. So you
Do you
need
know
to do
what?
it real.
You look
Yeah.
and they're
Well, here,
walking
I wouldn't be
past and
running
they're all,
around chicken,
What do you
talking
do
like a
yourself?
chicken
And I'm all
normally.
wedding hypnotist. The mowers like, come on,
No,
let's go.
I'm not
And
paying for that.
do you know you've got to see? I think you've got to see the video and see that it's not. I think even people like, you know, hypnosis is a funny one because. Like, you know, you have things like Benidorm and stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, like there's like a Gareth Fulton would be like a Benidorm hypnotist, and I'd be really friendly with Gareth. But the show that he does in Benidorm, the show that I'm doing at your wedding, is, you know, miles and months apart.
night and day.
Yeah.
Aye, do you know what I mean? Like at a wedding, it's family friendly.
Light-hearted.
You want
It has to be.
You want everybody just to be sitting there with big smiles on their faces and happy. Like, so I suppose it's
Yeah.
that sort of thing. You know, whereas you're not there to sort of be like, you know, right, you know, a full Monty next. You know, I know. It's not that sort of show. Like, do you know what I mean?
My
Like,
friends
you know.
get married, so I'm going to have to direct her your way because I want to see you in action. Don't want to be part of it. I want to
I'm sure
see
you
it
could
in
take part
action.
as well. And then I'd love it.
I have seen in action before I came to wedding help, and my friends kept saying, go up. And I was like, no, I'm terrified. Like, I already make an idiot out of myself.
You don't need
sober.
anything
I'm
extra.
normal. Like, what's he going to do?
I
to me?
don't
was
need
like,
his
I'm not
help.
getting up. Yeah, I was like, no way.
So, what do we think of big weddings or small weddings, or what's our
I
preference?
had a small wedding. I had 25 at mine, and there was 6 kids. And so that 25 included 6 kids and 2 teetotalers.
Brilliant.
So, and it was the best crack. No fighting, no nothing. I think we petrified the venue.
Aye.
The amount of drink that the bar was completely full of Jaeger. They
Aye.
raided all the bars and it was gone for such a small wedding. But I think, and everybody says it was one of the best weddings.
I think.
Me
well,
too. Like I
think
did have a
with
few friends at it.
Yeah.
But it was mainly family. Obviously, we were supposed to get married 2020.
Right.
COVID.
aye.
So we put it back the year. I wasn't doing any of that chopping, changing dates. Back a year, and that was that. But people were only really starting to get back into work, probably
Yeah.
around the May, June time. So I was like, look, you can't come. That's fine. So it did reduce the numbers.
But I think the small wedding, everybody comes together and everybody becomes a part of the wedding party,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah.
Because, you know, like I met on one there at the start of the year in 10 Square. You know the way they have 2 rooms in 10? They have like a smaller room.
Yeah.
And it was maybe like 30 guests. And do you know what?
It's the flax suite or something.
And like I remember the photographer coming in and going, oh, you're under pressure the night deal. There's only 30 or whatever at this wedding. And do you know what? I nearly enjoy it as much as a big wedding because everybody, there's no, I think at a bigger wedding there can be more pressure for people.
Yeah,
if
like
that makes
I've been
sense.
to bigger
Whereas
weddings.
everybody nearly
Yeah.
gillers on like. And do you know what? I had a great show, and it was just because everybody was just
Yeah.
up for a bit of crack. Like,
But it's
you
not
know
to
what I
say
mean?
bigger weddings are bad.
No,
but for me
no.
personally, I did like the smaller one.
Aye.
I don't know what, like, I've been to plenty of weddings and the bigger ones and the fighting, you know, when the drinks and all are in, like, oh, you looked at me the wrong way.
Aye, oh my
sort of
goodness.
thing.
I think the
There's
way
just
they
a
Well, that's only
wedding.
a county down. That's
You haven't been to Belfast.
But
But I think with a bigger wedding, it almost takes the bride and groom away from the actual day because
Yeah.
they're trying to
I
entertain
know what you mean.
so many guests too.
That's what I was saying when they had the first dance. It could be the only time they actually do
Yeah.
get to come together. But even just the stress of planning and stuff, like, how big's your wedding gonna be? We're all saying this, and I'm like, oh,
No, 80.
80,
Like middle.
That's a
I would
class
think
number.
That's a
That's
lovely
class.
number.
Yeah.
Class.
Yeah.
I think
80 is
anything
nice.
over 100.
Because I have brides and they've like 250, 300 people.
See
And
that?
I'm
I've never even
I
been to a
don't
wedding
know
that
that many
size.
people. And they were like, oh, we have to because he wants her invited and the mother-in-law wants this person. And I always say to them, would you buy them a McDonald's? No, they're not going to your wedding then.
Yeah.
They were like, invite them to the evening if absolutely necessary. They don't need to be the whole
I
day.
think
and they were
that's
like,
very true.
God, why did I
I
never
think that
of
would be grand if you do a small wedding, but ceremony,
have
open
the
invitation,
extra
as many,
evening.
you know.
Yeah,
'cause-
but it's not that as well. You know, we've all been to weddings where we're at back tables. You know, we're
I
doing-
don't know. Beside
oh, I'm the same.
the restaurant door, beside the cooking door. whatever.
we're just there because we're you know.
I don't think they like you then if they're putting you away back here in the toilet or something.
The crazy table.
But no, and you know what?
There's always a crazy
You're
table.
like,
There is.
you know, you're not that involved in it, you know. So as you say, you know, if you have everybody there, it's important.
But it's good
Yeah.
to hide though if you're at the back, especially if somebody's making a speech and maybe somebody's family isn't that very nice and somebody else stepped up and
Well, I suppose that's true.
you can hide because everybody just turns around and looks at you.
Do you not think that's a really older generation thing though? You know,
What, a bigger
Mammy
wedding?
would have told me, like back then it would have been your mum told you who was coming. Like it would have been
Big
like
time.
my sisters and my sisters' friends, and I want these people invited. And where I've just went no. Like
But-
if
but
I
I
know them,
think-
they're
I
not
think-
coming.
But it does still happen, but it's good that you're able to put your foot down. I find
Yeah.
a lot of brides are they're pleasing. And
Aye.
I'm like, they're like compulsive people pleasers.
But that's
And
a
I'm
that's
like,
a
you
great
need to-
point. That's a great point there. That you know, you know, your mum saying that this person's coming, that person. I think even for the whole wedding, that could, you know, like, oh, we know a band. You know,
Aye, they can push their thoughts
And
on
there's
to you.
the wee diddly dee band that plays in the barn
you
on
know,
Friday night.
no,
I
you know,
know,
yeah.
Jimmy done your uncle
Yeah.
February's wedding and stuff, and
Yeah.
you're
So
like,
he
you
has
know,
to do
and
yours
he's
or
going to
whatever.
do yours, and
Yeah.
oh, we know your
Yeah.
video. And I suppose I think years ago that was a big thing where it was
Oh,
nearly
definitely,
everything.
yeah.
But I suppose social media has opened that all up now because do you know what? You can find everything that you need
Yeah.
on. You know, you can go onto your socials. You can watch the videos of the vendors that you like, and it doesn't even need to be localized anymore. You know, you don't look at a photographer and say, well, you know, I'm having my wedding in Derry and that photographer's based in Belfast. You know, it doesn't really matter now.
doesn't matter.
If
No,
you
you
like
go
their
anywhere.
work, if you like their work and like what they're doing, go for it. You know, even like I'll go to Limerick and do weddings. I'll go to
Yeah.
Cork and do weddings. If you like that vendor, you know, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you book
Why,
them?
why wouldn't you book them and why wouldn't you go for it? Like,
Even
you know?
doing wedding shows, they do try to please everybody but
Aye,
themselves.
aye.
And I've gotten looks from whoever they've brought with them, and I'm
Aye.
like, you're the one paying for the wedding. You do what you want at it. It's your day. You have.
Do you know what? You
want.
see it all the time in the group there that brides will put up, you know, well, not all the time, but you'll see brides will put up, you know, and they'll be on there, like, you know, they'll be stressed out just
Yeah.
because, you know, such and such has
It's a
said
fam-
that,
yeah,
you know,
they just need to
aye.
back off.
I think weddings mean so much to the person that they don't want any negativity around it. So
Aye.
they will do whatever they need to do
But you're not
to
going to
make it
please
be positive,
everybody.
even
Yeah.
if that's saying yes to things that they're not even
Yeah.
wanting.
yeah.
Because I've seen a few posts being like,
Oh,
you know,
big time.
well, people aren't happy for me. Why are people every time I talk about my
Aye.
wedding? You've seen ones like that.
Aye.
Yeah, but
And that's so sad.
it's hard to get them out of that way of thinking, and that's when I call them compulsive people pleasers,
Yeah.
because they're doing everything for everybody else. And I was like, no, take a step back.
As I was
Do
going to
you
say, because
really
it's not
want
it's
that?
not even their fault. It's
No,
just they
it's
just
just
want
to get
it to
railroaded
go so
at
smoothly
times.
and so handy and
I suppose they're so absorbed in their wedding,
Yeah.
but other people sometimes, and I don't mean in a bad way, well, it's close family, aren't as invested in.
yeah, 'cause it's
Nobody's
not their
going to be
day.
more
Aye.
invested in your wedding usually than yourself.
Aye,
So,
you know what I mean? Like, you know?
But others will be like trying to get their
Opinion in.
opinions in, sort of thing, but at the end of the day won't help, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, you know, nobody's opinion matters bar your own.
Exactly.
And you just need to sort of get yourself out of that way of thinking and concentrate on what you and your partner want.
what's your thoughts on DIY weddings and doing it yourself and budgeting
I
and
think I should let somebody else talk. I feel like I'm taking over here.
Even that's like the people that say, my uncle has a camera, he's going to do my photos for me.
do you know what? That's such a scary one. I think. Do you know
big
that
time,
is a scary one. Like I think the professional services like of photography. Do you know? You can DIY so much, and do you know, even room decor. I see so many putting up. Do you know what? I'm going to do that myself, and you're all. No, on your wedding day, you're
don't
not.
realise how busy.
Where are you gonna? How are you gonna do that? Because I think a lot of people as well even get sort of thing made into the thing of I'll get married there, but I'm going to do the decor myself. I'll go down the night before. But
I don't think they realise what the lead up to a wedding.
But there's a
actually
wedding
entails.
on the venue the night before. I think you don't realise all the sort of things where. You just can't say, I'll do it myself, I'll do that.
I think they think they're saving money, but realistically, the amount of things that they'd probably buy to do it themselves, they could have just had a
And the
professional
trial and error.
supplier.
Like
And
a
trial and
they're
error.
trial, yeah.
And the
so-
time, if they actually like put a price on their time, they're
Yeah.
way more expensive than what they would be if they just paid somebody to do
There
it.
probably is a lot of stuff you can DIY. There is stuff you can do
And the
yourself.
satisfaction you get from doing it, they're like,
but,
my God, I made that. That is cool.
Yeah.
I have to go
But
and
at the same
more
time,
of it now.
yeah,
you
but like,
know.
what are you going to do with a floral hoop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you
Yeah.
going to put it? You're
Yeah.
going to put it in your house. You're not probably going to. So
then you
like,
also
you have to then
have to-
take all that down and deal with all that.
Yeah.
Or you can just hire it and say, right, see you later, floral hoop. Like,
Yeah.
love it. You know,
I'm
it's
trusting
just-
in you here, so it's all new kind of thing, yeah.
takes the pressure off.
Yeah.
I know for me personally with cakes, a lot of people are like, oh, my auntie is going to bake our cake. And because a lot of venues do not let just random people in with their cake. You have to have your hygiene rating, you have to have your insurance and that.
That's
Oh,
a big
that makes
one,
sense.
So your Auntie your granny or your auntie. I was
Aye.
trying to do granny and auntie.
Can't do it at the same time. That's a good one. I like that.
Can't do the cake, and then they're like, oh my God, can you fit me in? And I'm like, right, well, you can't have this big elaborate thing, but we can
Yeah.
do this.
Oh,
you know, and they think, oh, they're saving the money there, or the auntie's doing it as a wedding present. But I'm like, that is so nice, but you need to check with your venue.
Yeah.
So you do, because there's hoops that you have to jump through. It's not
I
as
suppose
easy.
the stuff that you can budget on, you can really look at your day and go, say, do we want, if you wanted to save money, you could like have a full night DJ instead of maybe having a band and DJ.
Aye, there's other things
do you know,
you can
there's-
definitely
there's
do.
other things,
Yeah,
or even
budget
like
with-
even maybe you might say, do you know what, we'll have like instead of having a band, we might have like an entertainer and a DJ, or you might have there's different
That's
stuff.
what
you
I'm
can,
doing. Like I'm having you and then just DJ.
I think there's like that's only one example.
Yeah.
There's probably other ways too you can save.
Well, I know, like, now, don't come for me, but a lot of people I'm getting is like, I'm not doing a videographer, but I'll get a content creator. Like, that's what a lot of people doing.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
being
No,
an advocate
no,
for that, like,
no,
because
no,
I've
no.
got a full media team coming to
Aye.
mine, and I'm excited for that.
Aye.
But you're
'Cause
probably the
that was
same. So many
suitable for your
brides are
needs.
coming to
I
me.
mean,
Yeah.
a lot of couples are either content creator or nothing at all, and
Yeah.
I was always say go for content creator,
Yes.
if you can't, if a videographer's not within your budget,
Yeah.
definitely content creator, go for it. Like,
Because it's a way of
you
getting
know,
something.
Yeah.
You've got some video.
Yeah.
So this
Leave it
one thing I
memories,
didn't
yeah.
have at mine. I didn't have a videographer, and
Right.
I hadn't even heard of a content creator. Then.
And they probably weren't
And
even a
it's
thing,
One
but-
thing I regret: I have no video footage.
And that's what a lot of people do
That
tend to
is
say
one of the
now,
biggest posts I
yeah.
see all the time. And like I've had so many brides book me for this year last minute because they have thought all last year, no videographer. They're panicking now, and then they're going,
Yeah.
what's your prices or what's your packages or whatever,
Aye.
because they're like,
Yeah.
I need video. And
Aye.
when I gave them their video back, they are like so thankful
Yeah.
because they're like, I'm so glad you caught this conversation, that conversation, or whatever.
Aye.
Yeah.
because like weeks after the wedding, your memories, we're human, your memory starts fading,
It fades,
and the thing is with videos, content creation, photographs, they actually become the memories from your wedding. They're whenever you think about your wedding, you're actually thinking about your videos and,
Yeah.
your photos, because they're the long lasting. They're
It
the
freezes time.
Yeah.
Where it stands. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about it. That's the best way nearly to
That's a
describe
nice wee
it.
slogan you should do.
Freezes time.
Yeah,
But it is, even for
Yeah.
photography, all of it, like all that media stuff, it just
Aye.
that freezes time in that moment that you'll like.
you'll always remember how
You'll
it felt.
always, yeah,
but
exactly.
you won't always remember how it looked, and
Yeah.
that's how. That's where
a great way to
videos,
put it, isn't it?
videos
Yeah.
and photos come in, like, so that's what people should be investing their money on. Don't go for a crisp packet wall, like,
I know you don't need it.
yeah,
like,
which is could be several £100, where you can go actually an extra £50, £100 on top of that. I could have a content creator and We've got something preserved then
Yeah.
for all time.
Oh, I was ready for dancing there.
I thought that was your thing music. Cue.
You'll be able to mute that out, won't you?
But even see for you, like when you're doing photography, like obviously you'll see people that will take photos from their phone. But like, what way does it make you feel when you see someone that's like an uncle or something that has a professional camera?
I don't really mind it at all. Like, as long as they're not really getting in my way. Like, and sometimes I would ask them, I would tell them, here, the best place for you to stand is over there. If they're taking a photo of a group of people, sometimes I steal their shot as well. Like, I don't really mind because of what a photographer is doing on the day, as I've explained before on my own podcast, was to pay attention on the day of what's happening. There's not just one storyline of the couple getting married, there's several subplots going on there as well. There might be kids playing in the corner getting up to mischief, so I'll be on there, which nobody in the whole room might be seeing.
Respectful.
Yeah.
Of you,
But whenever there's another an Uncle Bob there, I don't mind at all. Like, this work away.
You don't feel like they're overtaking what you're doing.
No, because what I'm doing is I'm getting the story of the day gathered. They might be taking a few snapshots themselves. That's fine, as long as they're not following myself and the couple around during the portraits. Like, because that would be, I would just at that stage I would probably say to the couple, go on, he's taken away from the experience.
With you.
Tell them to go take pictures of the guests, which is completely fine. Like, so
just go near a river and tell them, like, we're going to do this photo shot where you have to walk up. You walk back and then, oops, he's just fell into the pill or something. One of those ones. He's going to have to
that's what I do.
So I can't take that away from you. Sorry.
No, I have no problem with people with cameras and
I thought you were going to say I have no problem with people getting naked. It's like, okay.
Well, generally not of that sort of thing, like, but I'll have to charge extra for that, so.
Right, come on, lads, shirts off.
On that note, I think we've got everything we need today, because nobody wants to see me take my shirt off.
Well, we already got a great. His legs is lovely furry legs here.
There we go. That is the Wee Wedding Bants podcast, episode 1. Thank you so much.